So the question is about home heating oil and helping seniors, right? Stay warm. And he stands up here with taxpayer-funded flyers and a refrigerator magnet. I mean, this is absolutely insane. The first thing that government can do is eliminate taxes on seniors earning under a certain threshold who should not be paying taxes on their home heating oil to begin with. The next thing they can do, the next thing they can do is pass a tax cap bill that actually has a circuit breaker in it and unfunded mandate relief. Now, he suggested, well, it's not a big deal. You know, he suggested he wouldn't have voted for the circuit breaker. That's going to provide 90% of the relief goes to those making under $90,000 a year, especially our seniors. You combine that with a property tax cap, and you're talking about, in some instances, high hundreds of dollars, in other instances, thousands of dollars to local seniors that goes back into their pockets that will make this winter a little bit easier. Government has to get out of the way. Refrigerator magnets paid for by tax dollars are not the answers. Legislators who have heart and conviction standing up in that chamber and fighting for real reform, balanced budgets, and real tax cuts are. Thank you. Can I borrow the refrigerator magnet? Thank you. Great. I'll give it to my grandmother.
By the way, Kathleen, next time, remind me to order 3 lecterns, okay? Learn something new every debate. The next question from the audience, for which Mr. Ball will go first. Would you support an inspector general for the state education department?
Absolutely. And not only would I support it, but even though John Degnan, even though the Mayor Brewster suggests that I have not had any bills in the New York State Assembly, one of my bills that I have supported in the New York State Legislature is the property tax cap bill. And guess what's in that bill? The State Inspector General. And guess how that got in there? I met with UTY 2 years ago when I was going door to door. Ed Safone and others brought that idea to me. I worked in the conference to make sure that was in the bill. And that's a comprehensive statewide bill now that's having an impact, a real impact, on the debate of our time. Whether it be that issue or my veterans tuition reimbursement program, which started with a bill that I started, or my impact, where 2 years ago I said, leadership matters. Folks, whether it be Governor Spitzer, who we held the first hearing, and we stopped his dangerous driver's license program, that was no joke. Outside of Jerusalem, New York State is the largest terrorist target in the world. Yes. And 3 months before, I had a local mayor, who happened to be this guy here, who decided to invite the Guatemalan consulate, a foreign government, to the village of Brewster to hand out foreign government ID cards to persons of whom we do not know their identity. He beat Spitzer to the punch. And you know what? I stopped him, and then we stopped Spitzer. Leadership matters. This is a nasty, horrible campaign. I love being your assemblyman, but the reason why they're running this angry sock pocket against me and spending $350,000 to destroy me isn't because I'm not effective. It's because I am.
Mr. Ball mocks a program that he just asked for the card so that in the event his grandmother gets hurt, when EMS responds, they'll know her blood type, they'll know what her allergies are, they'll know how to treat her in an effective way without having to wait for her medical information.
I mocked your answer, not the refrigerator.
Right there on a refrigerator. Secondly, Mr. Ball talked about energy reform. Home Energy Assistance Program. It represents 300 recipients in Putnam County to the tune of $175 a year. Mr. Ball, you had an opportunity in the Assembly to bring that up in debate just last week, but somehow it didn't make the floor. You chose to keep your mouth shut. Third, State Inspector General. It's a damn good idea because it will lend accountability. But just like we saw with Mr. Ball's track record, siding with the governor, instead of working with someone that would actually build accountability into the state controller's office, he chose political expediency. The state inspector general will bring accountability to all these different departments, and it will help change the systemic crisis that we're facing. But let's not leave it in Mr. Ball's decision, because he will put the fox in the henhouse just for political expediency.
Okay, the next question, again from an audience member. Mr. Degnan is up first. What is your position on prescription drugs and the current New York State EPIC program?
First, the ethics program with New York State.
Epic, John, epic. It's a drug program for our seniors.
Thank you. I've done some research on prescription drugs, and I've seen up to 8,000% increases on drugs that are used to stem spasms in babies, or stem cell research that would go to dealing with issues of multiple sclerosis, rheumatoid arthritis, Parkinson's disease. We really are at a crossroads in this state, and we understand that as our quality of life erodes, as all these other things escalate in our lives, how are we, homeowners, family people, in this district supposed to deal with this? Now, while the state is cutting, and understandably so because the budget is out of control, how are we going to deal with keeping drug companies that manufacture these drugs, that have our loved ones and our own lives at risk when it comes to how these things are priced? I say that we have to step up and recognize that if people can go offshore for business, then they should be able to go offshore for prescriptions. And that is a program, if we're in a global economy on every other issue, then let's make sure that drugs are available at the lowest cost available to people on fixed incomes, people who are chronically ill. And the way we can do that is taking the model out of the global economy. Now, we'll say something else. I don't pretend to be an expert on all issues. Frankly, folks, I don't know what the EPIC program is. But that's what a leader should do. When they don't know the answer, engage experts. Ask people, roll up their sleeves, engage the experts, and find out what the crux of the matter is, and then be willing to make the tough decisions. So, Mr. Ball and Bruce, that's a EPIC program is not one I know about, but I can guarantee you that when I finish this debate, we're going to get pretty up to speed on it tomorrow morning. Thank you.
John, while you do that research, if you can look up www.gop.com and decide whether you're going to sit on the Republican side of the aisle or the Democratic side of the aisle, it'd be nice. The reason why I do know about EPIC, the reason why I do, and it's kind of important, how many days left until the Republican primary? 12 days. And we still don't know whether the Democrat-endorsed candidate running for New York State Assembly, what side of the aisle he's going to sit on. On the EPIC program, if it weren't for that, my grandmother and my mother is here today. Her mother would have had a real tough time. And I think at the very least what the government can do, the state can do once again, and it may not be an attractive idea on the Democratic side of the aisle because it cuts into a funding stream, but we can provide tax incentives, tax rebates, and tax credits to seniors who are seeing a disproportionate percentage of their income going to the insurance companies and going to the healthcare industry, where they're literally being forced to decide between home heating oil, food, or their medical necessities. So that's what I would like to see done. Sure, we should also open up opportunities through the internet, which more and more seniors are becoming quite good at, to allow them to purchase online. He said overseas to purchase your prescription drugs. We can't even get dog food from China, so I don't think that we should be purchasing prescription drugs for our seniors. But I do want to go back to a point. He said that I stood with Governor Spitzer as a matter of political convenience. If you think standing up in the New York State Legislature and telling them that they're dysfunctional, and telling them that they violated the public trust for violating an independent panel which was selected by them, if you think that that's political expedience, John, you really don't understand New York State politics.